everybody, and welcome. I'm Orias. This is Musically Minded. This is our jazz band, our orchestra, and then collectively we get together and we do symphonic band. We're going to start with the jazz band playing a few tunes. The jazz band is under the leadership of Mr. Ben Green. With teaching assistance from Brandon. And they're going to play a few tunes, and then the orchestra is going to come up and play one piece, and then everybody's going to be up together, and we're going to play our final piece. I'm going to hand off to Mr. Ben Green here.
Well, first of all, let me tell y'all, today is a good day for music, y'all, ain't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Every day is a good day.
The sun is out. You're about to hear some awesome sounds from some wonderful youth and people of all ages. And you know, one of the most beautiful things about music is that it empowers people to come out of their shell. I got some people up here who are nervous. Yeah, they're really nervous. I'm like, okay, but you're still gonna do it. Like, no, like that. They're begging people, like, no, Mr. Green. I'm like, but you're gonna do it. But you're gonna do it. Because especially now in today's time, we really gotta show strong for ourselves and each other. Every day there's always uncertainty as to what's gonna happen next in society at large. But as long as we seize the day, tackle life with just grit and determination, and that's what I'm looking for. Community, what's what I'm looking for? Community, working together. Yeah, as long as we work together as a community, we can pull off a lot of awesome things. That goes for the music and beyond. So with that said, it is the mission of Basic Blues and Beyond to educate the masses of music, especially what is the history of blues and beyond. So we're talking about blues, jazz, R&B, even some hip hop. We're gonna add some hip hop repertoire. Don't worry, I promise. But it is a mission to educate the masses of where this music comes from, what it's about, and sharing that spirit of music. We hope to empower both youth and all the listeners. With that said, we will start with C Jam Blues by one Duke Ellington. Y'all give it up for Josephine! I love the smell of bravery in the morning. Thank y'all for being brave. And thank you for opening that lid.
Yeah, Trinity, can you stand up? We can never see you. There's your kid back there.
Oh, yeah, we got Trinity back there. We're holding it down, we got confidence. Next, we have a tune by King Dorham titled Bossa. And if you want to know where you can find Bossa, it is the first track on the Joe Henderson album, Page 1. It's pretty interesting, though. I recommend check out the album. One of my favorites. One, two, one, that's right, go for it. The worst thing that can happen is it doesn't work. Yeah. I won't tell anybody you know. But I'm thinking of a famous musician. He was a black man, and he was very proud. Matter of fact, he even wrote a song about it. He said, "I'm black and I'm
Happy.
Who said that? Well, I mean, I'm sure he's happy too, but I'm black and I'm
Proud.
No. I'm black and I'm Okay, so who is that musician, y'all? I only got one person. Who is that musician, y'all? Thank you. What's your name? Chinway. See? Give it up for Sister Chinway, y'all. So, that's a little bit of music history. That musician I'm referring to is James Brown. So, if you ever get a chance, check out Say It Loud. I'm black and I'm proud. But with that, James Brown, he wasn't just a one-man band. He had support. He had a solid horn section with him called the JVs, which was led by an awesome sax player named Maceo Parker. And so with that, the JVs came out with this song everybody play called Pass the Peas. Okay, and it starts off with this little chant. Pass the peas, pass the peas, pass the peas, what we used to say. Pass the peas, pass the peas, pass the peas, what we used to say. So I wanted to do the chant, but they vetoed me. I guess this is a bit of a democracy after all, so we won't be doing that today. But we will be starting right on. Pass the peas. God nobody recorded that. And then we had some vibes from Avi on that. I love this kid. I love him. Him and his brother both. They come in and they do the work, they practice and they play together. And you know, their parents keep sending me videos and recordings of them playing together. I'm not mad at it. This is the kind of love and dedication commitment that I hope everybody that comes through this class can walk away with. Because, you know, why do this if you're not gonna have fun with it? Make it a personal mission, you know, to learn new music and to create your own music. And so I love the work that Ollie put in. Even this morning, I had him learn complicated bass line at the last minute, and he did all right. Well, okay, give it up for Ollie! I hear he wants to get into Oberlin. So if y'all know somebody that could hook him up with some rec letters, you know, let's help Ollie get where he wants to go. Now, the sad part, we're at our last song set before we break down and we transition to the full orchestra, which, don't cry, we'll be back next season. But the orchestra is really cool, the collaboration effort that we put in to blending in our wind instruments, our rhythm section, along with the strings. I think you're going to really appreciate what's coming next. But before we do that, we gotta play a song written by the late Horace titled Song for My Father. I hope you enjoy. You will be hearing solos from Carl and Yosef. All right, y'all. I'm not counting this one off. Y'all get started. Go ahead. Go ahead.
sit over there and on the orchestra members temporarily come down on stage. Their Mozart that they're going to perform. And I will introduce some folks while we're getting ready. This is Dr. Ondine Young. And her teaching partner back there again is Rob Finucane. And then we do have teaching assistant Kevin here. And volunteer Melinda there as well. So we have an unusual thing that we're doing with this program that Ondine and I developed with the late Rich Armstrong. This is called the Live Ensembles Program. And it's multiple ages and multiple levels. So as you may have noticed, with our clarinetist sitting next to our saxophonist for different ages, right? We're trying to be inclusive and allow people the experience to be together and create a family-like atmosphere. We also do something very unusual because, that's okay, Carl. There's no music scores written for multiple levels, right? So every time we take a score, even if something like Eine Kleine Nacht-Musik, which is a very famous Mozart piece that we're about to perform, it requires us handwriting out parts to meet the levels of the students that we have. So there's a tremendous amount of editing, rewriting, and it's a team effort. I appreciated, Yossi, I wrote something out and we kind of spontaneously changed it, and I said, please come up to me and tell me if it's unplayable or you want to do something different. Yossi came up and said, hey, can we change these notes and this note? And we really like that kind of collaboration. So it's very unusual, and we like it that way. It's complicated, but we're super happy to be here, and I'll pass this over to Dr. Ondine Young now.
It sounds funny for me to have Anna call me Dr. Ondine Young because we've known each other since we were teenagers at UC Santa Cruz. And we know each other since we were teenagers at Berkeley High, and Carl, who we were just talking about over there, is related to Anna and also was our teacher at Berkeley High. So we were like passing down the generations, connecting all the generations. Our children come and help and play sometimes too. So I'm really grateful for that. One thing that me and Anna and the late Rich Armstrong were trying to do with the Live Ensembles program, which is different from, I think, any of the other groups that I know of in this area, or larger, is that we're trying to show the connection, direct connection, of collaboration and influence of classical with jazz and vice versa. So some of what Anna was talking about with the arrangements is part of that, and what Ben was talking about earlier with improvisation. You know, there was improvisation in the Baroque and classical periods as well. So with Baroque music, I think you've heard us play Vivaldi's Four Seasons. We had a lot of trills and things like that to imitate birds, and that's an element of improvisation. So for something like that, it was not written in the music always. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't. It was encouraged to add more trills and other ornaments, just like Christmas tree ornaments. In the time of Mozart, they started writing more down. They had more technology, more bird quills dipped in ink pots on paper or whatever, everything like that, and not yet to the computer age. So a lot of these ornaments were written down. So what we're going to do right now is a piece by Mozart of the classical period. Raise your hand if you've seen Amadeus, the movie, ancient history, but yes. It's not all truth, but a lot of it is. And this piece was in there, and it's also many popular places. Eine Kleine Nacht-Musik was a serenade that they would use. They used serenades all the time. After dinner, just for fun, instead of watching TV, they would get together and read chamber music and play music like this. They'd play it in gardens and parks, and we still do that. We have string players and instrumentalists playing in gardens and parks, but it was done much more often. So this was sort of bread and butter, what people did, a nightcap, so to speak. And speaking of nightcaps, one of the kind of ornaments that Mozart wrote down in this piece for us to play is called an appoggiatura in Italian, or a Nachschlag. Any German speakers here? So Nachschlag literally means cream on top of your coffee or your nightcap. And so the cream, here's the cream. This is the nightcap, your coffee. Okay? The Nachschlafen is add a little cream on top. So you're going to hear a lot of things like that in Mozart's piece. We're going to do all the repeats that he wrote in, because that's how they did it, because it was after dinner music or whatever. And to make it more interesting, thanks to our Anna and some other democratic influences here. By the way, I think the little Anna gave us inspiration to choose this piece, so I'm glad she could make it today. The first time around, I told these guys, you don't have to do the ornaments, because they're actually kind of difficult to do. So you're going to hear this piece without a lot of the ornaments. Maybe some of them, because Lance likes to improvise and make up stuff. That's why we have less but on the repeats, I'm going to help add a few more ornaments. So it should sound a little different. You're going to hear the same thing twice. That's what they did. And then on the repeats. Speaking of same things twice, it comes from the Baroque dance binary form, which is like one partner of a dance would do the dance, and then another one would repeat the dance, but add some ornamentation with their hands or whatever. So that's what it comes from. That's why we have these long repeats. All right, that's it. We're going to do it. helpers here. And I forgot that, well, one of our helpers sort of is my friend Sarah, who's joining us on the viola section. Another one of many people here who are moms and teachers. And then Brandon back there, just like Rob, he's like the Wizard of Oz in the back behind the curtain, doing all sorts of magic and pushing buttons and turning pages for people and helping so much. So please help me thank all the helpers, including Brandon.
Okay, we had a request to play Wicked. Music from Wicked is really hard, and so I chose something called is it One Short Day or One Fine Day? One Fine Day, which is only in the movie, not the Broadway musical version. And if you haven't seen the movie, I highly suggest it because the production value is amazing. All the actors and actresses sang live in the movies, which is almost unheard of. And they built all the sets like theater sets because they really wanted it to be like a theater production. And they spent all this time and energy managing the sounds of all the things on the set. So there's things where they push a button and something opens up and makes a lot of sounds. Those were live sounds. And so I just really appreciate all that live stuff rather than the post-production editing. But in the scene in the movie, they're going into the Emerald City for the first time, and it's absolutely amazing. The set's amazing. Yeah.
One Short Day. You're right. We wrote Fine Day on the title, but it's actually One Short Day.
Anyway,
you'll hear
this
it being sung.
From Wicked with our entire group all together. Enjoy.
Notice I'm wearing my witch cape for the occasion. Speaking of witches and magicians, we have another magician here. Kevin helps us in so many ways, I can't even remember what they are because there's so many. He does everything. He plays, sings, piano, cello, you name it. And he helps with all this amazing stuff that Anna does, which is very complicated. And I should be turning off my alarms that I usually have to tell everyone that it's break time. Let's make sure that doesn't happen again. Could you read a bit of the text, Kevin, while I do this?
All right, so one short day in the Emerald City. One short day full of so much to do. Every way that you look in the city, there is something exquisite you'll want to visit before the day is through.
And what's interesting about this, I won't say too much, but to nod at what Ben was mentioning earlier, these are really interesting political landscapes we're in right now. And I have been told that you could look at the Wicked movie, and especially this one piece, as an allegory for politics, of things maybe not being what they seem. People that seem evil are actually not evil, and vice versa. So I love that we chose this piece. Thanks, Anna. There's a lot of improvisation. You guys will hear it.
One short day in the Emerald City. One short day in the Emerald City.
will you say give it up for Yossi? How old are you, Yossi? 11. And give it up for Carl. Don't say how old you are, Carl. And then,
Older than 11.
older than 11. Of course, it was so nice to hear Kevin sing, so give it for Kevin. Rob, Augie, and Melinda were holding things down in so many wonderful ways, and a lot of it is improvisatory. In fact, everyone in the orchestra on the last time when Kevin was singing, they were improvising, making up notes that aren't on the page, as we so much want to encourage with all walks of life, classical, jazz, you name it, so, or musical theater. So thank you, Anna, for helping put this on, and do you want to say a few more words?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to point out Trinity playing in everything, on the piano, on the flute, and taking private piano lessons as well. So that's a lot. I also want to point out, I'm Anna. This is also Anna, who came to 0 rehearsals because of Boy Scouts, of all things. She joined Boy Scouts. But she came and played with us for the first time today, so that's totally remarkable. And everybody else, JoJo for soloing. Yay! Zoe, who nobody can ever see, plays really hard piano. Okay, this concludes this recital. We sure hope you join us. I think it's May 15th for our next one. We do have another concert today. So without further ado, we'll have the whole orchestra stand up.